So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, "The two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born." I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. A young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player.
The Reverend Al Sharpton.
Al wanted to be like Allen.
It's Thursday,
Very close.
December 18th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM. Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, and for the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation. All you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or go to the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net, and go to live stream and send me a message. I see Tanicel Thompson. I know I'm saying it wrong. Saying, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and everyone. Darrell Prunty. Praise the Lord, Reverend Al Sharpton. Trump is obviously not well. We must rally Congress to 25th Amendment or impeach him now. Yeah, he came off very bizarre last night. We'll talk about that. James Thomas says, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and the Nan family, and happy Policy Day. Yes, it is Policy Day, and it's Thankful Thursday. Demetrius Jones says, Trump is losing his mind. And is Trump losing his mind? He says his doctor told him that he is healthier than Barack Obama. That's a quote, too, Demetrius. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. Trump's speech last night. I was in Orlando, Florida last night, spoke for the Conference of National Black Churches, but I saw the replay, and as kind as I could say it, it was interesting. As factual as I could say it, it was nauseating. And as frightened as I could say it is, it's scary. This man did not, if the intention was to do a reset in terms of trying to put some sort of, let's try to recapture where we were trying to produce jobs, trying to bring down inflation, trying to maybe step back a little on these tariffs. No, he went all in. And he has an absolute, unquestionable obsession with Joe Biden. Everything is Biden. And I think that he can't get over the one person that beat him, which is why he did January 6th, which is why he keeps jumping on Biden. If you are a bully, and the one guy that beats you in the schoolyard, no matter if you win the championship the next round, no matter what happens after, you are always obsessed with that person that beat you. And that's what it sounds like to me with Donald Trump, because everything is Biden. Even when he hung up these pictures on the corridor, the external corridor, the east wing of the White House, of all the president's pictures, he put up Biden's auto signature, not even his photo. And he puts a narrative under there very negative about Biden. I mean, so he's obsessed with the man. The man is paying free, living free rent in his head. And I guess I got a room in there, if not an apartment in there, because every once in a while he'll hit me, but not like he does Biden. So let's talk about the speech last night for you that had the stomach to watch it. House of Representatives passed the GOP's health care bill without Obamacare subsidies extension. Be real clear. They passed a Republican version of health care that we will still see the Affordable Care Act expire on the 31st unless there's some intermediary that works something else out. It doesn't look like the present speaker intends to do that, which means that upwards of 23, 24 million people, their life insurance, health insurance rather, is jeopardized, and the premiums could double or triple. But now with the legislation that they passed yesterday in the House, has little chance of passing through the Senate, and it doesn't even address the cost cliff that's expected to hit these 22, 23 million people. It doesn't even address it at all. Still, even the frustrated Republicans support the conservative policies, and the GOP bill passed without any difficulty, 216 to 211. Only Thomas Massey, Republican from Kentucky, voted with the Democrats, and we can talk about that. I mean, the insensitivity of that is startling. The jobless claim applications fell by 13,000 just last week. Layoffs remain low. The October losses, job losses, were caused by 162,000 drop in federal workers. So unemployment is going up. The question of Trump bringing a better economy, unemployment is going up. Inflation is going up in many key products. The debt, the national debt, is going through the roof. I was flying back this morning from Orlando, and the guy sitting next to me, Republican, I won't say he was a Republican. He voted for Trump. I assume he's a Republican. He said, "This is crazy. I'm in business. They're killing me. Trump is killing me." White fella, maybe 40s. I mean, it is amazing how he has no concern at all about delivering on the things he promised his voters. I mean, I didn't expect he would do anything that would in any way satisfy many of us, because that's the reason we didn't vote for him. But I thought he'd throw a bone to his supporters. Nada, nothing. And it is the height of, I don't know, arrogance, insensitivity, whatever you want to say. So we're going to talk about all of this. And interesting, Dan Bongino, the FBI deputy director, said on Wednesday he plans to step down from the Bureau in January. He just was positioned to be number 2, a couple of months ago? He did not have any reasons, he said. His only previous law enforcement experience was as a police officer and later a Secret Service agent. But he had a long history knowing Donald Trump. And it was very suspect when they put him in the number 2 position, which was basically to administer and run the day-to-day of the FBI, where he's stepping away from it. So a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss. And let me tell you something, it's Policy Thursday. These things directly impact you and directly impact your pocketbook, so that we can really, really need. I know all of Capitol Hill is listening to the show today, because They want to see what we're saying after the vote on health care that cut out Obamacare, which means the premiums are going to go up unless some intervention happens. And I know they want to hear people what they had to say after the president's speech. So line up your calls at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or go to the live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, and we will be right back after this break. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life.
In London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come. There we go. Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive. Yes, sir. There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
This is the first Thanksgiving I'm here in New York. Over 20 years. I'm just glad to be here with Rev today and to hand out the food. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's Erica Ford, the Peace Doctor in the building. Here at the National Action Network, it's about thanks, it's about giving, it's about gratitude, it's about love. I feel it is important for you to understand that there's work out here to be done, but it starts with gratitude, it starts with giving, it starts with peace, it starts with love. Let's go.
Before we feed our family, we got to make sure that we feed the community. That's right. That's what it's all about. We got to come with Sharpton phones. You come and you make sure you show up, serve the community. That's what it's all about.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice. So I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
And we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And let me say that. Before we go into these calls, and I see people are calling in and messaging in. We'd like to talk about today. I mean, anytime people stop me on airplanes flying in from Orlando, Florida, and that's MAGA state, even though I was down there to keynote the Conference of National Black Churches last night. And we're posting on YouTube my message for you that want to see what I said last night. You can, by this afternoon, see the whole message, because I really challenge these black religious leaders that we need to be doing more. You know, I am a preacher all my life. We need to be doing more. I'm not anti them. I am one of them. But we're being too silent. We've allowed Trump and them to speak and sell a bowl of nonsense without silence. And I believe this is not Democrat or Republican. This is a moral issue. It is immoral that people, 22 million are going to probably lose their health insurance week after next. It's immoral. Having elderly women and babies not covered by insurance, that all you got to do is extend it. It's immoral to be taking away people's voting protection. And where's the church? It's immoral for a man to be standing up there saying the things he's saying and nobody checking him. Ending diversity, equity, and inclusion that your members go to work every day on. It's immoral. And I'm challenging the ministers and I'm challenging the elected officials Why are you there if you're not going to speak up? I know it's risky. I know Trump going to say nasty things about you. He tweets about me or goes on Truth Social or whatever. The last attack he did week before last, he did it on the official White House account attacking me. But either you believe in God or you don't, Reverend. I told him, if you're afraid of Trump, don't preach about Moses and Pharaoh. Don't preach about David and Goliath. Don't preach about Esther and Pharaoh. Don't preach about the 3 Hebrew boys. You don't have the right to talk about people that had the courage to go up against the politics of their day, because all of them were political. Freeing slaves with Moses was political. David against Goliath was political. It was the Philistines against the Israelites. 3 Hebrew boys were activists that wouldn't bow to a false god. Don't preach that if you're not going to live it. Get you a Tom Bible. Holy Bible, Uncle Tom version, because you're going to take all that out. And the same things with our elected officials. I can say it because I've been in this all my life. We've marched, spent night in jails. I personally spent more nights in jails than I want to remember to fight to renew the Voting Rights Act. I was too young when they got it, but I was at all the battles to renew it every 5 years. For you to go up in the Congress and the state legislature and the Senate and make friends, you think that's what we did it for? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, the civil rights issues of our time. I took a knife in my chest. A guy tried to kill me. Tasted my own blood for you to be sitting up there wondering if you're going to be invited to the inaugural ball. Are you nuts? Or maybe you think we crazy. And I had to say it. We need to start calling people out. Guy stopped me going into Orlando at the airport last night when I landed. Red Mal, I'm glad, no, it was the daytime. Red Mal, I'm glad you out there. Ain't nobody out there. I said, that ain't nothing for me to feel good about. There are others out there maybe not getting the same attention, but all of us need to be out there. My critics were Red Mal always on television. We all should be flooding the television. That ain't nothing to be mad at me about. I'm not on the television modeling clothes. I'm on there talking about people that need health care, talking about voting rights, talking about people's jobs, talking about your mama's health care. And you mad at me? Something wrong with you. Let me make my announcements. Don't forget, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. It's going to be hot this week. I mean red hot. I'm going to have the right guests, and I'm really going for it this weekend, going into Christmas and Kwanzaa. Make sure you watch it Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. Don't miss this weekend. I'll be on both nights live. And you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. I'm giving my Christmas and Kwanzaa message this Saturday at the Saturday Action Rally, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. You that are not in the New York area can watch it live on Impact Television on nationalactionnetwork.net. And on Christmas Day, a week from today, we'll be serving hot free meals, free. Have Christmas dinner with me and my family at the House of Justice, starting at 11 o'clock. Many of our elected officials come in and have dinner with us. You may be homeless. You may be a senior that don't have relatives here. You may just not have no relatives here at all. Or you may say, Reverend, I'll come serve an hour, and then I'm going home and have Christmas with my folk. I'll be there all day. Make sure you that want to help call and sign in right now. Somebody's at the phone at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. and make sure you call in 626-4651. Or you can go right online to nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, I'm putting a little fire up under everybody because it's a fiery thing. The whole world is looking at us. Question is, are we looking at ourselves? And when this man, with all of the polls going low, with all the world challenging him on Venezuela and Ukraine, to get on TV last night and talk to us like we was crazy, and the leadership in our community is silent, it's inexcusable. Gwen E. White is saying, preach, Reverend Sharpton, you're right. However, how can we get the civil rights leaders in place saying one thing publicly and another behind doors as they're scared for their families, which is understandable. I get it. And I get it too, but let me put it to you this way. It may sound cold, but if you're scared for your family, that is more than understandable, but then you shouldn't have stepped out to be the leader of a civil rights group. I knew when I stepped out, and my family knew what was at risk. And I'm willing to take the risk. I'm probably as recognized as anybody in this country. I walk the streets, I walk in the airports. Most people know me, which is dangerous. This is not celebrity. I'm not known for no hip-hop song or no playing ball. But the greater risk is that some of us don't take the risk and they put us back into pre-1950 America. That's the greatest risk. And I'm not willing to take that chance. And, that's where my faith comes in. I believe God will make a way. And I've been prosecuted, I've been stabbed, and I'm still here. So I do my part. God had to do the rest. Have to take risks. Let's take a break. Be right back. Going straight to the phones. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back. Keeping it real. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We don't want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, it ain't some people who put them together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in the South.
we've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest, who could run around the pulpit more, or who got the dresses fancy, and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. Yes, sir. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. Yeah. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton. And we are back 1-877-532-5797.
532-5797. And you can go on the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net. And Daryl Prunty is saying, Amen, Sharpton is your name. We better respect it and know it. All right. Thank you, Daryl. And Mayor Rodney Jones, the mayor of Queensbridge Houses in New York, saying, Rev, you always tell us about the armchair activists and the radio revolutionary. There are many that call into this show and want to tell my shepherd what he should be doing. Are you for real? Yeah, well, they can call in, but I am on it. I am not going to get off them. I saw one guy, I didn't pull his name up, but said that I'm intimidating. Well, if it takes some intimidation to get some of our elected officials and preachers off of their buttocks, then I'll be that. Whatever it takes. Alexandria Kennedy said, you're a bit intimidating. Well, I got to do what I got to do. I don't consider speaking the truth to people that claim that they are the bearers of the truth intimidating. It ought to be confirming. If they're intimidating and not being confirmed by it, then they might not be preaching out of the same Bible I'm preaching out of. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Ray, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thanks for taking my call, Rev. A couple things. I watched Donald Trump's speech last night, as rambling as it was. There wasn't a period or a question mark or a comma or exclamation point in that whole speech. Now, you have to be kind of skeptical of a man who can't and won't take blame for anything. I mean, at what point through your 4-year term will you get off Biden's jock? I'm thinking in year 4, he'll still be blaming Biden for the economy, but he must take his whole these voters for fools. They know that he was a rambling idiot last night. He must know that. If he doesn't, then he better ask somebody. But let me ask you this, coming from a pastor, a preacher standpoint. Now, I'm not talking about the Billy Grahams or the Joel Osteens and, white preachers of Christian church, because I'm sure these Republicans, they go to church, they call themselves Christians, but black folks can't do it alone. And I'm wondering, I'm asking this because I don't know. I'm wondering, what are these white preachers and these white pastors are telling their congregation, are telling their folks, it's okay what Trump is doing, or, because at some point, these white preachers got to step up.
Yeah.
Come on MSNBC, and come on Meet the Press and face the nation. These white folks, these regular white folks that go to church, call themselves Christians, they got to call their pastors out the way we do.
That's right.
What's your opinion on that?
I said that's right. I just gave it to you. That's right.
Uh-huh.
I think that because, again, the Affordable Care Act, the tariffs, the redistricting affects them in the white community that's supporting some of these conservative white churches as much as it affects us. Tariffs probably affects more of them because the whole question of the tariffs that is causing farmers to lose a lot of their profits and all, these are in red states. And they need to be getting on their preachers, who are all lockstep for the most part with Donald Trump. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and I just don't see them on these news cycles. And so because I'm not in their social settings, I don't know. That's why I asked that. Now, you had mentioned something about, did somebody call you intimidating or just preachers in general?
I think they were saying I can be intimidating.
Oh, okay. Well, on the radio, if you don't come with facts to back it up, you'll get on them. You don't care who it is. It could be Tommy. It could be me.
Yep.
It could be anybody that you call, hey, either a friend of yours or a buddy or a pal, whoever, if they don't come with facts or the truth to back it up, I guess at some point you can be. But if you stay true to what you believe and back it up, you don't have anything to fear. That's how I look
Well,
at
if
it.
somebody were to say to me that this issue is happening and Sharpton, you should be on it, and call me out on it, I wouldn't be intimidated. If I wasn't on it and they're right about the issue, I'd be corrected. I'd say you're right, and I've done that. So you're only intimidated if you're guilty and don't intend to correct it.
Yeah. Hey, Rev, do you ever hear from these black MAGA Republicans? Do you ever hear from them as much than before the general election, or
No.
they just stop calling off in general?
I've not heard from them since the general election, because and that is why I believe many of them were paid to come on black radio and be disruptive, because all of a sudden they stopped calling, they have nothing to say.
Yeah. All right, Rev. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you for your call. Let's go to Laura in Tacoma, Washington. Laura.
Hello, Reverend Sharpton. Thank
Hello.
you so much for taking my call. I seriously appreciate what you say and have been a follower of yours. And I wanted to call you. I won't take up much time. Your comment about churches and your trip to just visit the conference, and I can't wait to see it in Orlando, and how you talked to the preachers, the religious leaders. My father was a preacher. And as a little girl, it was the whole story of the Messiah. This was God's son.
Right.
But he didn't have a roof to call his own, okay?
Right.
And he called out the Sadducees and the Pharisees. In the end, it cost him his life. Pontius Pilate even said, I can't find nothing wrong with him. He was speaking up and telling the religious leaders, you're not doing it right. Out here in Washington and in Tacoma, there's a church on every corner.
Wow.
In the black neighborhood, there's a church on every corner.
Wow.
Everybody has gone to college and is part of a sorority. Everybody is competing within these churches. Who looks the best,
right?
Who has the most, and there's no unity. Religion has become a big, profitable business. And what I want to say briefly is they won't get together because unlike when you first started, and Dr. King and the other leaders, they didn't have the jobs. They fought for us to have the federal jobs we have today. Because of those jobs, black folks don't say anything because they want that check. The Bible says money is the root of all evil. Okay?
Right.
Follow the money. They called you a loudmouth, just want to be anything on TV. Who is he? He doesn't have a church.
Right.
Same thing with Dr. King and everybody. When they hire these black folks with these degrees now, they want you to be a quiet Negro.
That's right.
And don't say nothing, and they don't. And then, but they want to buy their way to heaven, so they go to church. And they give a big offering and churches have become big. They don't have any jazz clubs out here. They don't have any black business. The biggest business is the church. And so when you talk to those religious leaders, and I've been listening, I just had to call in today and say this to you. They're not. It's too much of a competition. It's too much of a Sadducees and the Pharisees. You are like the Messiah, and there are few of you, okay? Like there was just one of him. He had to go for it. And yes, it did. And they watch for leadership like that. They've been watching for it all through history, and they've been deleting it all through history. They've been watching for his family line to come through, male or female, okay? And anybody who helps him. He had several stepbrothers and sisters They've been following those lines. They don't put that in the Bible, but they've been following them behind the scenes. And they came up with Ancestry.com so they could refollow people. But leadership like his, like he said, I will return, okay?
Yep.
And like Trump tells them, bow down. Do one act of worship to me, and I'll give you anything. So I'm telling you, like Shirley and like everybody, I'm stuttering a little bit because I'm nervous. Everybody who sat down on the bus, who was cleaning houses, everything, okay? Yes, they were tired. These folks aren't tired today.
No.
They're living on the golf course, too. They're a part of the group, too.
That's right.
They're making the money, too. But I'm going to tell you, out here, I've been away from my home state a long time. I was trying to make it to D.C. because I have leadership bloodline. They don't want that. It cost me my husband's life. I was the director of the Black Student Union out here in Bellevue College. I don't even want to tell you what I was to get. And have Black History I mailed to you last week. I hope you got the story I mailed to you.
Let me double check. I got to take my break, but you sure inspired me.
Take your break.
You stay in touch with me, Laura. I love the way you talk. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. I'll be back. More of you on the phones. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago. Had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice. So I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
From the beginning. With the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had, in one of the early movies, he had my name, then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. We went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
My brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you?
Yeah, she's going to.
Do I seem excited? I am.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing...
Real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. It's policy day, but we definitely need to be talking about what's going on. That's all that's going on. We need to be analytical and active. It's not enough. It is not enough to have a great analysis if you're not going to put some action behind it. It's not enough to have action and you don't have an analysis because you might be active the wrong way. We try to counsel you to have both on this show, give you the information and let you know where some of the qualitative action is. But we should never, none of us, have the option of doing nothing. Nobody should do nothing. Let me go to Leon in Dallas, Texas. Leon in Dallas. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
How you doing, Leon?
Nobody is more of an intimidator than the president, this president. Okay, so for them to say that to you, that's disingenuous. Okay, let's start off with that. Why aren't they criticizing him? And when you say that these ministers and these elected officials need to stand up to Trump because or get off the pot or cut bait, Jesus was against oppression, and if you call yourself following his example, and you don't stand up to this oppressive regime that's in the White House, you're doing a disservice to whoever supports you.
Right.
That's either your parishioners or your members or your voting constituents. And nobody has a right to put their hands on you because you stand up to this megalomaniac. This is not during the Roman Empire. This is 2,000 years later. You have a right to have your own security system, a strategy. Nobody has a right to threaten you, to put their hands on you, or nothing. And if you had your 401c4, these millionaire athletes and entertainers should be donating money to you because your civil rights work is the reason they can make money.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have overflowing coffers so you can provide for your own security and implement some of the strategies that you talk about or we talk about on this show. They should give back to you in particular because you are standing for them. And I remember you said that at one of those award ceremonies a couple of years ago. And so I hope they're listening and they have enough money. Guys are making $2 and $3 and $100 million contracts. If as many of those guys donated you $1 million a piece to a 501c4 where their names don't have to be divulged so they don't have to worry about, quote unquote, the slave master getting an attitude at them, then they should do that. So don't just talk about it, they need to do it. because you are standing up for their rights in case they get pulled over by the police or they have something happen to them. You come running, but as the rapper said, I can say whatever I want to say, and you say you can't. You don't need to use the N-word. And then when something happens to that rapper, he expects you to get him out of trouble.
That's right.
You remember that?
That's right. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So they need to contribute to you because they have way more money than what they will ever need in a lifetime for their entire families. And you have established that you have credibility. And in addition to that, you're going to have safeguards where they can see where their money's going. And that's what they need to do with some of their money instead of going out tearing down a $2.5 million house to build a $5 million house. Well, they should donate some of that money to you because you are standing up and making sure that they have the right to go out on that field or go on that stage and make those multi-million dollars.
Absolutely right, Leon. Thank you for your call. You right on point as always. Let's go to Woody in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Word, WURD. Woody.
Hey, Rev.
Hey.
I just wanted to say I got Reverend Albert Campbell, one of the biggest pastors in Philadelphia we have, Mount Carmel Baptist Church. And we were talking about some of the subject matter about those who may be afraid of truth. I love you because you constantly tell it. You keep it real. Now, see, keeping it real is telling the truth. Basically, what you do. Some people it hurts, some people it doesn't. But others have to understand that the truth is the only thing that can set you free. There is no freedom without truth. We have to face that, and that's what I applaud you every time. I keep you on in this barbershop. But I just wanted to Reverend Campbell's in the chair. I just want him to say a word or two to you. Is that okay?
You got to do it quick. I got a lot of calls.
Okay.
Hello there, you have to be my young brother.
How you doing, Doctor?
My next birthday, I'll be 94 my next birthday.
Wow.
And you sound like you're about 39.
No, I'm a little older than that, but it was good to hear your voice. How you doing?
Oh, I'm kicking, but not high.
Well, long as you kicking, God bless you.
A lovely wife who is my executive administrator. She used to tell me what I wanted her to do, and now she tells me what she's going to do.
I know that's right.
Get off because he has to go on commercials. Reverend Sharpton, thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you. I love that. I love that. Our elders need to know that they are being heard. I love that, taking a minute to hear from him in his 90s. God bless him. And getting his hair cut. Some of us just know we're going to be right all the way to the end. I love that. Let's go to Brother Jacob, also in Philadelphia. Brother Jacob.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Al, and to your worldwide listening audience. You know, to one of the callers, let me tell you something, Reverend Al, and I know you know this. The best security comes from God Almighty, right? When you put the full armor on and go out, no better protection can you have. He protects you in the air and on land, right? But you know what? Last night, it takes a whole lot for me to even look at a picture of this president, more or less listen to what he's saying, but we got to do it. We have to do this, you know. And to what you said, Reverend Al, I challenge the mega people, okay, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, how long? Not long, right? And I say to people, how long do President Trump think that he can keep lying to the American people, right? How long he think that, you know, and it would be different, Reverend Al, if it were just one lie. But when everything you said was a lie, if that don't wake up the mega people, I say then stay asleep, rest in peace, because surely you blind and you dead to the real human life And as brother Rick from Germany say, I'm done, brother man.
I love
thank
it.
you.
All right, thank you. Good to hear from you. I think it's time to take our break. We'll take a break and be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
In London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We've got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive. There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door. And he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're copping out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, it's right. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say that.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we ride in an airplane and the two pilots die for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as a land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
Right. At one man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund crisis and fund all the different other things, they can fund a small thing. They get started. Then the private sector will join in. Let them help.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, twitter.com, The Rev Al, or go to our message page at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Let's go to Annette in Detroit, Michigan. Annette.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
I'm an active member of NAN here in Detroit and have been for many, many years.
Great.
I have a question. Would you consider, and is it possible for you to have maybe one or two shows on Politics Nation with a sit-down conversation with all of the living presidents, vice presidents, and House speakers?
I think it's possible, but putting it together, now you would be talking about Bush, Clinton, Obama, and Biden.
Yes, and I would imagine that would have to include former Vice President Kamala Harris as well.
Yeah, Harris.
But and also and the House speakers as well, because I was thinking about this along the terms of trying to have it balanced with just as many Democrats as Republicans. I know what it would do as far as the ratings. It would they would be off the chart. But more importantly, I think that people want to hear what they think about the conditions of our country right now today. If you could, I don't know if that's something that you could, if it could be pulled off, but if you could, I for one would appreciate hearing what they all have to say, just in a general conversation about where we are right now as a country.
No, I think it would be an intriguing and historic thing to do, and I certainly I love that kind of challenge, and that's the level we need to be thinking at. Let me put my thinking cap on how we can pull that off.
Okay, I hope you do, Reverend. I love you, and I keep you in my prayers.
Well, please do, and I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you for your call. That's an excellent idea. And I think if we could get them all together, an excellent idea. I think, because I think that people need to know that there are concerns that are shared by people on both sides of the aisle. And we need to know that this is not normal, what's going on in the White House. I mean, somebody knocked down the east wing of the White House, and then they tell them, well, what you're talking about is going to be hurting landmarks, and we may have to stop. I mean, just kind of reckless stuff and check in later. This is not normal. This is something that they need to address. I totally agree. I think Rodney Jones said the security would be a monster. He didn't say monster, but I did. But it would need to happen, and I think that it's very, very interesting. I like that a lot. I like challenges that we can try to aspire that would really have maximum recall by people. I think that it'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting. All right, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and I'm getting a lot of feedback on that, Annette Tish. Toki Hall is saying that the people would definitely stand up and listen. You get a lot of people. It's an excellent idea that House Speaker would decline, though. Says Destined Forever. Said it's an excellent idea. And Rodney Jones, the mayor, saying you're the only one that could pull it off, Rev. Well, I don't know if I can, but I'm certainly going to try. I think that we need those kind of jolts to kind of wake us up. It's almost like we're in a stupor. People are like sleepwalking. Just wake up. This man's taking everything from you. Wake up. Mark in Houston, Texas. Let's go to Mark. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Mark there?
Yes. Good afternoon, Loudmouth. You doing all right this afternoon?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, it just pumped me up. I heard the young ladies a minute ago. Boy, she sure come up with a good one, boy. To get them all together, you can do it, but boy, you know that's gonna be a hard task. You're gonna get the Secret Service. You got to get all the. What's gonna be it? Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna be glued. Where the tickets, wherever it's going, I'm sure it'll be huge. So I like that idea. I hope we can work that one out, man. I
like that idea. I do.
Yeah, that was an awesome idea, and Reverend doing it too. Oh, that'd be awesome. But you know what though? I just saw on the news. Well, this old convicted felon, 34 convicted felon is now, he's up to something. He signed some executive order, I guess, dealing with the marijuana deal, whatever that situation is. They doing something with that. And then also, now he's giving the troops, $1,777 or something, a bonus by Christmas. See, this man is trying to pay. He's trying to pay his way into something. He's up to something. You get what I'm saying? There's something he's doing, but you know, then another plane that went down, and I think some people is gone. The plane that went down on that. Then they got another shooter that's on the loose. You know, I don't know what this man or what kind of secrets this man done gave these people or whoever these folks. But they need to start investigating the man, because there's a lot of stuff happening under his watch. Well, this is secret information. And remember when he was running against Clinton, they didn't even want to give this man any secrets or anything at all. And as soon as they did what they did, you see what's happening, man. These planes are coming down. You think this man probably done gave some kind of information to somebody on our planes and computers or whatever? Something's not right, man. Something's not right with this man. I think this man is, I hate to say it, he's a convicted felon, but he done sold us out, man. I think he did, man. I really do. I think he did. What do you think?
I do. I think there's something going on. I don't know exactly what it is, but I certainly think that there's a lot of shenanigans going on that does not make any sense at all. And thank you for your call. Let me go to the message page. Eleanor Ferguson saying, Reverend Sharpton, I made a compliment in agreeable with Congressman Jeffries. Some Caucasian man threatened me, stating I need my kneecaps broken. Unbelievable, sir. I pray that the Lord have his way with him. Love you, Reverend Al Sharpton. Yeah, these people are off the chain. They are just going straight at, I guess Trump has emboldened them to say what they used to say in their mind or used to say under their breath. Because they just outright saying the most outrageous stuff just if you have a different point of view or just if you question their point of view. They just is absolutely have gotten bold. And I think we need to deal with it. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Texting privacy policy and terms again.
Some of you forget where you come from.
1968.
were always in the mom people's killed to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich New Dennis, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you.
Ah.
places have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
This is the first Thanksgiving I'm here in New York over 20 years. I'm just glad to be here with Rev today and to hand out the food. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's Erica Ford, the Peace Doctor in the building. Here at the National Action Network, it's about thanks. It's about giving. It's about gratitude. It's about love. I feel it is important for you to understand that there's work out here to be done, but it starts with gratitude, it starts with giving, it starts with peace, it starts with love. Let's go. Before we feed our family, we gotta make sure that we feed the community.
Keeping it
That's right. That's
real.
what it's all about. We got to come with Sharpton clothes.
Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And let's go to the phone. Let me go to Donald in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Donald.
Thank you for taking my call, Reverend Al. Do you think there's a fact that the reason why a lot of these people in the politician arena and the people that up under them don't respond to the things that's going on as far as decreasing their money and stuff like that? You think like the president gonna have people following them just like the recreation wherever they go and stuff like spying on them and stuff like that, so they become paranoid. This is like a situation where somebody's driving, to the recreation area or something like that, and then they're being followed.
Yeah, I think there is some concern from people that they'll be followed and that they could be surveilled. But my thinking is, look, if we're looking for a risk-free life, then we might as well go lay down in the cemetery now. I mean, you could cross the street and get hit by a car. So we shouldn't walk across streets? I mean, there's a risk in anything. I'm saying that I'm not unmindful of the risks of standing up and speaking out, because I've suffered some of those risks. But I'm also saying it is a greater risk not to, because you end up with your rights gone, your benefits, your health care, your voting rights, all that gone. And I'd rather take the risk and fight and win some of the things that we want, need, and deserve than to take the risk of surrendering it to them, because I'm afraid somebody may follow me. If they follow me, they're going to follow me right into a rally or somewhere that they ain't going to want to hear. So come on, follow me.
Do you also think, the reason probably a lot of these people, in the local area, don't really respond to that because it hasn't really hit home yet? It's like my sister, she's out in St. Louis, and she said the president passed a bill some kind of way where they can interfere with her Social Security. So she's been short $40 in her personal check. You think if people get hit like that from time to time, then they start responding because that shortens their income.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to what you're saying. I think that people are very much they feel like it's not affecting them. And I think that there's a lot to that. I think that it is our job to tell them that it is affecting them, whether they feel it or not, because I think that, and that's where I put it on the Democrats, I put it on the activists like me, I put it on ministers, anybody with public forum. We need to explain to people what it is they're facing rather than wait and expect them to know it themselves or wait on the full weight of it to drop. So I think you raise an excellent point. A lot of people don't understand the danger they're already in.
Do you think they will listen even before they even take place on their financial time? You think they'll listen or just leave it off?
I think some will and some won't. I think that's always been the history of these movements. I think that most people wasn't listening when Dr. King got started, but they all wanted to go to the front of the bus when he finished. Sometimes a minority of us are going to have to pay the price for the majority of us, but that's just the price you pay rather than sit and allow situations to keep occurring that's not fair to you. I tell people all the time, yeah, a lot of people may benefit from what we do, but I'm fighting for me and mine, my grandson, my daughters. So if everybody else benefits, that's all right with me, but I'm going to fight because I refuse to live under a certain circumstance. All right, thank you for your call. We are joined, as we are every Thursday at this hour, by our policy wonk. It's Policy Day on Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton. And, of course, I'm talking about the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies in New York and the vice chairman of the board of the National Board of National Action Network, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing, Jenny?
I'm doing well, Reverend. It's good to be on with you and with everyone who's listening today. I didn't tell you I was in Florida last week and was just casually talking with a woman in the airport. And at one point we were talking and she asked me my name and I said Jennifer, and she said to me, "Is your last name Austin? Do you go by Jenny?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "I thought I recognized your voice. I listen to Reverend Sharpton every week, every day." And then she said, "And I love when you come on Thursdays." So that made me feel good. It made me feel really
And this was in an airport in Florida.
In Florida. But we were talking, and then I gave her my name, and I said, she said, wait, did you go by Jenny?
Well, that's good to
It
hear.
made me feel
but
good.
I do feel I get people stop me all over the country and say they listen to the radio show. A lot listen to the watch the television show.
Absolutely.
But they listen to the radio show. All right, let's get into it. I've been waiting for you to give us the policy breakdown of the actual way this impacts us if, in fact, as it appears, that the ACA, Affordable Care Act, will not be renewed. What is the actual fallout from that? How will it impact? What are the implications of that?
Let me just simply say to everybody, it will be devastating. And not just for people who've actually been receiving health care through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. So what people need to keep in mind is that the Affordable Care Act helped to ensure that more and more Americans could access reasonable cost health insurance to make sure that we all are as healthy as we can possibly be. And even with the Affordable Care Act, there were many people who still struggled to pay for health insurance. And so there have been, since its beginning, subsidies for people, at 100, like you hear me often talk about, like at a percentage of poverty. And I always break that down. What that means is that, like, if you are a family, one person with 2 children, at poverty means that your income is somewhere around, like, say, $25,000 or so a year. And the Affordable Care Act would make sure that if you were beyond qualifying for Medicaid because you weren't, say you're 150% of poverty, so you're making, that would be you're making like $33,000 as one person with 2 children. You wouldn't necessarily be eligible for Medicaid because Medicaid stops at 30% of poverty, but you still wouldn't necessarily be able to afford health care. The Affordable Care Act gave people subsidies that took them beyond poverty levels. If you weren't making poverty level wages and you were above, but you still were struggling, it helped to subsidize your health care. Well, during COVID, what we saw was that there were people that were, and again, I don't mean to get too technical, but 400% of poverty, meaning like you could have somebody, one person with 2 children making $100,000 who still couldn't afford their health insurance. And Biden made it possible that it took the subsidies up that much, so that if you were making $100,000 but you still couldn't afford health insurance, you got some money from the government to help you. Those tax subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year. One of the issues with the government shutdown was that, the Democrats were trying to make sure that they did not essentially get a budget going and leave out people who are at risk of losing these subsidies in order to pay for their health insurance. And then as we saw, there were 6 Democrats and 2 independents who moved over with the Senate, with the Republicans, and allowed for a bill to go through to bring it into the shutdown, with this hope that they would see, come January, the subsidies at these higher levels. Now we've had a vote that says that's not going to happen. What does that mean? That means that subsidies can go up. The cost of health insurance can go up by as much as 75%. What does that mean? That means if you were paying, $100 right now out of pocket, you may have to pay $175 just to get basic health care insurance.
For the same medical particulars you may need. Is that correct?
Exactly. And I'm talking monthly. I'm not talking yearly. So what I'm saying to you is that, 75 times 12 brings you to about $900 a year. If you didn't have it in the first place, it's now not just going to miraculously appear. So you're not going to have health insurance. You make too much money to qualify for Medicaid, but you don't make enough money to cover your health care insurance. You're not going to be able to pay for health care. In turn, it's going to affect everybody. So there are 22 million people, they estimate, who will be in this vote where they may actually lose all of their health care because they can't pay for health care insurance without the subsidies, and they make too much money to qualify for Medicaid. But then other people, you and me, who maybe make enough to cover our health insurance, we're still going to see our premiums go up by, possibly just as much. So everybody's going to be affected by this. Because when people fall out of the healthcare industry, in terms of getting health insurance, the health insurance companies jack up the prices to make sure they don't lose any money.
That's right. Let's take a break. Be right back. Let's open up the phones. It is Policy Day. Our policy wonk, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. We'll be right back. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal.
oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others. The way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, "The two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born." I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people They called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, a racial hustler and all. I kept going, and the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, and now, he was about
America's
12,
number one civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Al wanted to be like Al Power.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, our co-host on Policy Day, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin, every Thursday at this time. I'm looking at our message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. The message board dial 67676 says, "Good morning, Reverend Sharpton," and chat, watching from Los Angeles, California. Well, I'm glad you're on with us, and hello, LA. And the Democracy .fund, Brother Brian says, "Thank you, Attorney Austin, for keeping it real that the Biden-Harris administration was a blessing. Fools trashed it." Okay. And they continue on Democracy.fund saying, "Faithful correction can be a form of love, while friendly silence can be a form of harm. If we're serious about justice, we cannot confuse loyalty with enabling." I like that. I think that both of those, all three of those comments are important. Break down, Attorney Austin, for people, the legal ramifications of this whole redistricting fight. Now we know the Supreme Court has awarded Texas. But when you juxtaposition is the right term, and compare why we needed the Voting Rights Act of 65 and where we're now hanging on by a thread with just Section 2, the arguments they're making legally, to me as a non-lawyer, is preposterous, because they're really saying there is no longer any bias and any racism, therefore we can draw the lines wherever we want.
Well, remember that, and you and I talked about this at length, several years ago. I believe it was actually during COVID, or maybe it was right before COVID, when the Supreme Court went in and took a sledgehammer to Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And remember what Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act ensured was that whenever a jurisdiction was moving to make a change to a voting district, they had to come back and demonstrate that essentially what was happening was not going, did not go against all of the racial, like what they were trying to control for with respect to, persons of Black ethnicity in particular being denied the right to vote. So essentially every time a jurisdiction, a state, a county wanted to make a change to the voting, the voting rights, the voting districting and what have you, they were supposed to go back in to court and demonstrate that
pre-clearance,
what they were proposing to do. Yeah, get a pre-clearance that they could do it. Supreme Court shut that down. And now what's happening is, to your point, this is back and forth. It's like, okay, well, can you use race? Can you not use race? And overall, the legal implications and ramifications of this is that we're no longer sure what are the constitutional requirements around equal, protection with respect to Voting Rights Act. We don't know, whether there's lawsuits over racial gerrymandering, whether race is being used improperly, at times is being applied, even though they're saying that it shouldn't be applied. There's partisan gerrymandering where you've now got these parties that are controlled by the Republicans, and in some instances, they would claim that it has happened with the Democrats, where districts are being manipulated for political gain. And the short of all of this is we get back to voting rights for everyone, and how the Constitution was amended to ensure everybody, had a right to vote. And now what the Supreme Court is doing, what states are doing with gerrymandering and getting away with it at the court level, especially with these challenges to race being used as a consideration or concern, moving away from protecting people's fundamental right according to the United States Constitution, everybody having the right to vote. And we don't seem to be having the right redress, because when you take it up to the Supreme Court, it seems that they're ruling with politics in mind when politics really isn't supposed to be in play.
Now, what about the fact that if we look at the just legislative and legal landscape, Attorney Jones Austin, they are actively trying, in my opinion, in broad daylight, to overturn everything that was gained legislatively in the civil rights era of the 60s. We're still in the civil rights era, but of the 60s. The Voting Rights Act of 65, which you just outlined, if they take out all of Section 2, it means nothing. And then you have the Civil Rights Act of 64. If you're not requiring measures in diversity, equity, and inclusion, you nullify the 64 voting rights, Civil Rights Act, and 68 open housing, where it breaks down these segregated areas where we can't go in, and sets up where you have gentrification where they can come and sweep in. All of that is at stake, and I don't think, Jenny, it's an accident. I think that is why they tolerated Trump and his misbehavior and his demagoguery, because he had the charisma to rally up enough of them to get in so they could change these laws.
Absolutely. And let's add that, they dismantled the affirmative action, laws and rules. And, especially just when far from precedent, and precedent is like established law, that advanced affirmative action to ensure equal opportunity for people, Black people in particular, who had been denied access to colleges and universities, like grade school, as well as employment. So they essentially dismantled ended affirmative action as well. All of this, how I think, and I substantiate this, Reverend Sharpton, this is all intentional. It's all willful. And remember, Dr. King understood this when he realized that with the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, yes, we were making gains, but things didn't just improve overnight, like significantly for Black Americans. And what he began to appreciate was that the structural underpinnings of this nation, the economic and political power, that was all rooted in using racism as a tool to ensure people couldn't get ahead. And so what they've done with dismantling the voting rights, affirmative action, civil rights, what they're essentially trying to do is those things that were actually helping us to get ahead, to ensure equal and fair opportunity, true freedom, political engagement, economic gain. They realized that those were tools that were helping people. And so now they're essentially getting rid of those tools because at the end of the day, this is a nation that wants to ensure that economic and political balance remains the same. And I just want to say this, Reverend Sharpton. Remember, they started doing all of this back in Trump's first term because they were worried then that with the browning of America, if the federal government, remained strong, our national laws remained strong, and you had Black people in charge, you had people of Hispanic origin in charge, they then, as people who had the most power, might no longer have power. So they started trying to dismantle the federal system so that they would have stronger states' rights. But now that they're back in there, it's essentially a both and. They're just trying to take the authority and power away.
Let's go to Martin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD. Martin.
Yes, good afternoon, Al Sharpton. It's just a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
I just had 3 questions. When Obama first started the health care plan, he had a good plan, but he couldn't get the plan through the way that he wanted because the head speaker of the House, he made a deal that he would help him pass that bill. When it came to the end, he reneged on that. So that's one of the questions. The other question I like to ask, where is the professor that used to be with Travis Smiley? He used to have conversations about different things, but I haven't heard anything from him since Trump been in office. And the last thing, when you were saying about redistricting, here in Philadelphia, we used to have a very promising career in housing and entertainment, but when they came through here back in the 80s or whatever it was, and they called the area that they needed was eminent domain, none of the residents that we can see today where Black people ever lived at. And they come to the area and they built these beautiful $300,000 and $400,000 homes, and they get a 10-year reabatement. But the people who live in the area, they don't get anything, but their mortgages go up high. But I just want to thank you so much because I've seen you about 10 years ago when you came here. You're a dynamic speaker, and I hope that God bless you and keep you alive. And I like listening to your answer to my question.
All right, I appreciate your call. Well, Jenny, you can respond first. I think he asked 3 areas that are very important.
So I lost when he started going into the detail on the second and third. What was the first one?
He went back into, he started with the Affordable Care Act, and when Obama first brought it in,
right.
He could not get all that he wanted through, but he got through what he could, which was a mainstay for many people.
Right. And then he asked about Dr. Cornel West.
Yeah.
Who I believe is that right? Dr. Cornel West did a lot with Travis Smiley, and if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Cornel West still is lecturing. I know that he was involved at one point with Princeton, then with Yale, and he may still do a class at Union Theological Seminary.
Didn't he run on the independent ticket last year? I think he
sure did.
Right.
He sure did. Right, because remember we had concerns that he might take votes from the Democrats.
Right.
But that didn't last long. So on the Affordable Care Act, I think that one of the things that we don't give President Obama credit for was that he understood very well the nexus between our health care and our ability to survive and thrive as a people, and how your health care is attached to your economic opportunity, your upward mobility. And so what he was seeking to do with the Affordable Care Act and with the subsidies is to ensure that once there was universal health care in place, that it still was within reach, because he knew that just because you created affordable health care or the act, that it didn't mean that the health insurance companies, the ones providing the health insurance, were going to bring down their bring down their premiums dramatically. And that's why he put in place these subsidies. The aim was to ensure that everybody had health care. And what we're seeing under this regime is that the aim is to ensure that as few people as possible have it, because, again, they know it's linked to your economic mobility and overall prosperity.
Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones Austin. Be right back.
Keeping it real.
London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive. There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying here?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave. Right?
Yeah, that's what, exactly. That was, exactly.
That's the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road from me. I went for his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. To South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, showbiz.
But also where your people come too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came to me in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But
do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited. And you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9. And we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the national director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. Jenny, let's go to Todd. It's Policy Day. Todd in Cleveland, Ohio. You're keeping it real with Jennifer Jones Austin, Esquire.
Hey, Reverend Al Sharpton, Jennifer Jones Austin. I want to bring some clarity to something I mentioned last week in reference to what I told you about. I know about 50 years worth of good facts on the cost of vitamins and medicine in this country. And what I should have done with giving more clarity is I was referencing the research and development and manufacturing costs that has not gone down, because some medicines have gone down in price to the consumer, but the research and development continues to go up. You got to pay those PhDs and those master's degrees and those assistants. You have to pay them, and you have to pay for the not just the healthcare insurance companies that sponsor you being able to get that product at a lower price. You also have to pay for the liability insurance, which gets moved over, that they have to pay themselves, meaning the research and development pharmaceutical companies that have to protect themselves from error, of which they make a lot of errors. And then you take in consideration a lot of people that have been their cells and things like that have been used in the research and development. These people want to get paid. Now I forgot the woman's name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Henrietta Lacks.
Yup, she wasn't the only one in the country that was pushing to get, her family was pushing to get paid because their cells were used in development of products that became very profitable. So the reason I'm bringing that clarity is not just because it's important for me to be clear on this broadcast, but it's also to pose this question to the two of you. Do you have an opinion one way or the other as to whether we're emphasizing too much the high costs of the insurance companies versus the pharmaceutical companies that are causing the insurance companies to move the costs onto the consumer? It's the pharmaceutical companies that are driving up the price of medicine and vitamins and things like that, but they're driving it up based on what they have to pay to get these products to the market.
Jenny?
So, yeah, the challenge for me, I'm just going to be honest with you, is that, and just direct with you, this is not my area of expertise in terms of like healthcare versus health insurance versus pharmaceutical company and who's to fault and who's to blame. And I guess what I tell you in part is that health insurance premiums are not just about drugs. They're also about the provision of actual care. So you'd have to throw into the mix, the cost of the practice of medicine. You'd have to throw in the cost to run a hospital and clinics. You'd have to throw in, how much insurance companies and third-party insurance companies are charging for malpractice. So I think it's more than pharmacies. I think it's more than research. I think it is essentially the necessity of looking at the entirety of the system and figuring out where the push points and where the push points and the pain points. I appreciate what you're saying about pharmaceuticals, but I think that, and yes, pharmaceuticals are out of control, but I think that is just part of the problem.
I don't believe blame is the right word here, because I understand. I know PhDs that work for pharmaceutical companies and do research and development. I knew them before they became PhDs, and these people have to get paid. And if they're connected with that patent, they need to get paid for that too, because it costs them a lot of money to go through school. But let's get back to what we were talking about as far as the Affordable Health Care Act, the ACA, and how the subsidies should be extended. They should be extended, but there has to be some adjustments made to them, because there's so much. This is true. There is so much benefit being given to the insurance companies, where the taxpayers aren't getting as much benefit in balance as the insurance companies are. And that's the reason I brought all of that up. That I mentioned before that the ACA tax credits need to be extended. There's people in the Republican Party that don't want to do that. There may be some people in the Democratic Party that don't want to do that, but they need to be extended. But as to how long, because there is a balance. There is an imbalance as to how much money is going to the insurance company versus how much money is coming back to the taxpayer. Have the two of you considered that when you hear Hakeem Jeffrey say they should be extended for 3 years? 3 years looks right to me, but it better not be past that.
So the only thing that I'll say there is sometimes what happens when they do a term limited extension is that they're in the process. It's sometimes a negotiation tool, and they're trying to figure out, what they can get across the finish line. And it may not be that somebody believes that it should only be 3 years. in length, but they think that that's what they can get in this moment. And given that the Republicans have, since the Affordable Care Act was passed, they've been trying to essentially, knock it down and knock it out, eliminate it. Thank you. Couldn't pull that word. Thank you. But my point to you is that it may not be the case that they believe that the subsidy should be, that Leader Jeffries believes the subsidy should be extended only for 3 years. What he may be really speaking to is the art of compromise and negotiation, appreciating that you're not necessarily going to get it permanently in place. But the other thing that I think that what we don't talk about enough, Todd, is that, or if I say this, maybe you will say we have exhausted this topic at another time. So much of the reason for the need for subsidies is that we still live in a nation where the minimum wage is, $7.25 an hour at the federal level, $15,000 annually. So we don't look enough at, in this nation, wages and other resources besides income supports like a premium subsidy to try to figure out, well, what more do people need? How do we make sure that people are earning fair and livable wages and have the opportunity to save and build some wealth that helps them pay for some of these higher costs? We always make it about higher costs because as a nation, we don't want to look at the fact that we are leaving some people living materially in poverty or close to it because we don't pay fair, livable wages or basic incomes for people who are making the least.
I'm not in
we
that.
Need to look at that.
I'm not in that group, Jennifer, that believes that we talk about this too much or we've exhausted it. You can't talk about.
I'm saying we don't talk. That's not what I said. I said we don't talk about resources enough.
Okay.
This is a nation that attacks. This is a nation that attacks income supports because they don't want to talk about the fact that they're not helping people to build wealth. They don't focus on how do we make sure that people have enough income to make their ends meet. So if you focus on costs alone and essentially you vilify income supports and enhance premium subsidies, you vilify SNAP, you vilify Medicaid, then you take the emphasis off of, but are you making sure that people are earning more than $7.25 an hour? That the federal government still has that as a federal minimum wage. That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you on that. That's also part of the reason why I brought up that article last week, because that number is going to quadruple of 100-year-old people, which means the number of 640,000 people over 90 is going to get real high, which is what it is this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the 6 million people that are 85 years or older is going to get real high. Me and you are going to be in that group in 30 years. We're going to be right up on it. And
why are you getting it by my age?
Well, you talk about your age more than me, so but I'll move on. I'll move on. But and then you take in consideration, there are no 90-year-old people pressing steel at $50,000-$60,000 a year. That doesn't exist. There may be some teaching to some degree, but they're not building any desk and chairs at 90 years old if that's what they were doing to get their retirement. And these people have to get to these pensions. They have to get to these pensions, and these pensions have to be able to pay them as they keep living. They keep living. So
right. But we also know. But wait. Let's just always remember that because Black people and brown people are paid significantly less, there's no pay equity. Black and brown people don't get to actually save as much in pensions as others do. And that's why you see more people of color growing up, living out their latter years, their elder years, disproportionately more people of color in poverty. Even if they were able to put something in the pension, they weren't able to put enough.
Right, which is all the more reason why it circles back to what I'm saying here and what you're going along with.
Wait a minute, hold 1 minute, because I want to finish this. This is very, very interesting. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones, Austin. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we molded them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, you know, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say that.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as a land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did, to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream, and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right, at one
man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all the different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top and don't discuss it. It's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside.
Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our guest. Let me remind you, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, MSNBC. You do not want to miss this weekend with ACA all but gone, with the escalation on voting rights, a escalation to defeat us, and our going into Christmas week with the Venezuela attack escalating, and threats to all of the Caribbean. I have major players in the high offices and experts on this weekend. I'm on both nights, Saturday and Sunday, live. I know it's going into Christmas week, Kwanzaa week, but I'm live Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. And then, of course, you that are in the New York and vicinity, that's New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's 145th and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And I'll be giving my Christmas and Kwanzaa message this Saturday morning. You need to be in the house. And you that are going to celebrate Christmas, but maybe don't have a good way to do it, come and help serve dinners. Or if you're homeless or elderly and don't have family, come and be with us. I have Christmas dinner, my family and I, starting 11 o'clock Christmas Day, a week from today. If you want to be a volunteer to help, even if you're not going to stay all day, Reverend Al, I'm coming. Some people come every year and spend an hour or two and then go on and have their Christmas. Call right now, put your name on the list, 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, or you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Let's go back to Todd. Todd, you winding up. I got some more calls, so go ahead.
That's why I was going to circle back to point out that if those tax credits don't get extended then there's people that aren't going to be able to put savings away in 30 years so that they can spend it in 30 years. And they're not going to be able to recoup that money. Once that money's gone, it's gone in most cases. You can't come back and say, well, you know, I didn't get these tax credits, so let me get this money that I spent on this health care that I may or may not use. And at exit, let me remind people of this, and I know you know this cost, or you have people that know this cost, Reverend Sharpton. That fortune that y'all had to spend in order to feed all those people in New York City in 30 years is going to be at least twice that cost to get those people fed on Thanksgiving holiday again. And you might be feeding people that are making $60,000 in retirement in 30 years, but because of the high cost of New York City, they need to be in that line so that they can save some money for the next weekend and by eating at your Thanksgiving dinners. So, I mean, people should know what it costs to feed those people, and there should be some projection on what it's going to cost to feed them in 30 years if you have that same number of people, that high quality of food.
Yeah.
It's getting rough. I'll exit now.
All right, thank you for your call. Martin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Martin at WURD, Word in Philadelphia. I don't hear. Yeah, you're here. Go ahead, Martin.
No, this is not Martin. This is Arnett in Portland, Oregon.
All right, go ahead. I don't know. We got our lines mixed up, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to start out by giving my deepest condolences to Reverend Jesse Jackson to start out with.
Okay.
And thank you. And Miss Jennifer Austin, I'd like to say hello to you also. And my question is, with Trump having this birthday thing, he's got this $2 billion couple who's donating $2 billion for any baby born on his birthday the next 4 years or so. Is that just another money grab for him? Because that's what I think.
I don't. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it is. I don't know the specifics. I saw the headline. I don't know how they're breaking that down, and I don't know whether they're having people put money in to get in consideration, and that would sound like a money grab. So I don't really want to comment. I don't know the details, but I'm with you on that. That it sounds like that to me. Let me go to Jay.
Yes, it does, Rev, because it's a couple with $2 billion.
Yeah, interesting. Ron in Maryland.
Yeah.
Ron in Maryland. You're keeping it real with Sharpton and Jones Austin.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. Good afternoon to Mrs. Austin. Reverend Sharpton, I was going through some information today, preparing for my little show podcast, and I came across an article which was released by Congressman Chantel Brown's office on February the 13th. It was relative to Trump revoking the 1965 Equal Opportunities Act, which was signed by Lyndon Johnson 60 years ago, 11/12/46, which was served as the bedrock for civil rights protections, first based on equal employment opportunities, prohibiting employment discrimination by federal contractors on the basis of race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, and national origin. Now, Congressman Chantel Brown and Raskin has introduced Bill H.R. 989 to codify the Equal Opportunities Order, restoring the importance of anti-discrimination protections for Americans employed by federal contractors, which represent a fifth of the nation's workplace. They have 25 members in the House to co-sponsor this. The other thing I want to bring up, Reverend Sharpton, is that the investment tax credits for the investment for the Affordable Care Act are not the only investment tax credits that Trump has revoked with these executive orders. He also took away the 30% federal tax credit for people to install a solar system on the roof of their home. He also took away a $7,500 $100 federal tax credit for Americans who wanted to purchase electric vehicles and $4,000 for used. Now, the automobile industry projected out because those tax credits for those EVs were not due to sunset until December 31st of 2032. The industry it was rolled back to September 30th of 2025. The industry is going to lose $168 billion in projected sales. So I'm calling to say that I think that I've sent this information to the Black Chamber of Commerce, and you, Lord knows, Reverend Sharpton, you and Roland Martin and everybody else has been rolling it out and beating the drum about the economics. But we have to get behind Congressman Raskin and Brown and push to get this codification of this 1965 Employment Opportunities Act, because Trump just gave out $12 billion to the farmers, but they don't have to do nothing for the black farmers.
No, $12 billion.
$12 billion for the bailout for those farmers. And the head of the National Association of Black Farmers told the black farmers to go and apply for it, and if they didn't get their money, to come back and they have to get lawyers to sue. Right. But my question to Mrs. Brown, being that he's already revoked this, is it not illegal for them to discriminate against black folks?
I think you mean Miss Austin. Yeah.
Miss Austin.
Being that he, being that he, say that again, being that he revoked?
Yes, the 1965 Employment Opportunities Act, which served for 60 years through Republican and Democratic administrations. All presidents have respected this and said that American taxpayers should not have to pay for discrimination in the marketplace and in the workforce. And Johnson signed this in 1965.
Let her answer, because we're going to run out of time.
And you're saying, and because so he's now revoking it. I'm just trying to understand your question.
He has revoked it. So when he gives this money out, if black people, we come in and apply, and our people,
he's saying that with them revoking diversity or in any mention of race, that they would not have the basis of a lawsuit.
Oh, no, I don't think, no, because remember, diversity itself is not a lawsuit in itself, and discrimination was not on the basis of you being denied diversity. Remember, discrimination was you were a black, let me say differently. DEI is it's a program. We have not yet completely, or they have not yet completely eroded the Civil Rights Act that says you cannot be discriminated in the workplace on the basis of race. And so the point there being, it's usually if you're already in there in a job and they fire you and it looks like that is racial intent behind it, then you have a case and you should not have to pay for that. That's different. And I'm not saying, I'm just getting into the legal. I'm not saying I agree with it. This is different than, well, can we get a job if they're no longer giving a look or nod consideration to black people. It's not as simple. I'm sorry. It's just not.
I wish we had more time. Got to go. Thank you for your call. Let me thank Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. Let me thank all of you that called in, listening, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll